Hello everyone, my name is Jamie McQuaid from Magnet Forensics, and today we've got a few videos to help you get started with Magnet AXIOM. Previously, we went through a few videos on showing you how to load evidence and acquire images with various devices. This time, we're going to talk a bit more about on the analysis side. So I've got the AXIOM Examine open here. The case dashboard is the first thing that pops up here, and we can get a good overview of the case, the evidence that we've got loaded in here, a mix of computers and phones, and some places to start. We'll get into some of those features in a few other videos, but the first one we're going to talk about is artifacts. So I'm going to pull down the drop down here, and you can see there's a few options, but artifacts is right at the top here. So I'm going to choose artifacts. Now, artifacts is what we're relatively well known for. We basically go out and find the most common things you might look for in an investigation and present them to you in an easy to read or easy to analyze manner. So we have lots of artifacts, different things, different related stuff. You can see we've got the refined results here. We've got web related stuff, chat related, social networking, media, email, documents, whole lot of categories here. That we'll go through and take a look at. But really the idea is, if you might use it for a case, we're gonna pull it out for you and present it to you. Not everything's gonna be an artifact, but you'll get a lot of things that are gonna be useful to your cases. You can start with the top. We've got all evidence selected here. There's about 670,000 artifacts for this case, and they vary to a lot of different things we can see here. So right off the bat, you can see there's refined results that are opened up here. If I want to look at cloud service URLs, here's a bunch of accesses for cloud services, Dropbox, Google Drive, a good mix of things there. You can see Google searches. This is probably a favorite artifact of mine. This shows you all the Google searches that a user might have had. And you can see for just using this one as an example, we'll have a number of different columns for every artifact. For Google searches, you have search term, URL, date, time, original search query, and it scrolls over here with various different fields. And you can see the same details right here as well. So for this search term, cheap flight to Detroit, this came from a Samsung phone. This is a J7 phone that I acquired and analyzed, and it pulled out a search term for cheap flights to Detroit. There's the URL it found, the date, time, and you can see it came from some Chrome carved web history here off of that phone, which is great. If we go down, we can see there's a whole lot of other ones, and you can see there's some interesting search terms in this case, but as you go down it, you can start seeing a few different things to look for. And again, this is always useful to understand what a user was doing. I can select one. You can see how to meet in secret. Okay, we can see this one came from a Windows 10 computer, search terms there, all that. This is Chrome shortcuts, and you can see the details. So refined results are an interesting artifact because they're basically an artifact within an artifact. We found these results in a different artifact. For this one, you can see it came from Chrome shortcuts. If I find the next one here, this one came from Chrome cache records. So you will get duplicates like this, but it came from different places. So you can see that we list the source for every single artifact that we find. Let me see the other ones here. This one's Chrome web visits, and this one's Chrome web history. So each one of these could be found further below in a different artifact. We just group them in here because we want to group all the Google searches together, or all the cloud services, or the classified URLs, and all that stuff. We kind of group in a subsection, which can be useful to your investigation. But if you wanted to look at the original artifact, you could click here, and it would take you to that original Chrome web history hit. We also list the source information for every artifact that we find. We have the source and the location. That basically tells you exactly where we found that data. It's no secret. You need to be able to understand where we pulled these things from in order to testify or speak to any one of these artifacts. This Google search, for example, like I said, originally came from the Windows 10 machine. It was Chrome web history. But if we look a little bit more detail here, the source is the Windows 10 computer. There's the entire path for it: Google, Chrome, user data, default, history. So this came from the history SQLite database, which is where I expect to see Chrome web history. And the location is the URLs table, and that's column 314. So that's exactly where we found it. I could click on here and go to the file system. It flips over to the file system, takes me right to that file, and I can look at that. We'll cover the file system stuff a little bit later in another video, but I wanted to show how that source linking there works. So we pull back to the artifacts. We can see we've got the same Google search up, and we can easily go through it. Now, taking a look at a few other artifacts, we can go down here. There's some web related, some chat, some media, email. Let's pull down the email ones. Let's look at Android emails. So we can say we've got an Android email here from Bruce Wayne. The recipient is David here, and there's the date, time, subject. And again, all the details are here further below, but you get a nice little preview of that email right there as well. So you can kind of see it rendered as the user would have seen it. And you get all the other details, email body, sender, receiver, all of that. And again, the source information is there. So emails, it's nice to preview it, and you can do the same with documents as well. So if I wanted to take a look at some Word documents, you can see there's a few Word documents in here. Here's a resignation letter, and again, you can see some of the preview of the resignation letter along with some of the metadata for it, which isn't much for this one, but you get the idea of it. Now, you could keep going through it. We can look at some browsing related stuff. If I go to that Chrome web history that I was looking at previously, there's the Chrome web history. We've got a number of columns for it: URL, last visit time, title, visit count, typed, all of that sort of thing that you would expect to see for Chrome data. Now, you could very easily sort that data by clicking on the header, and it sorts it by date and time, or if you want to sort by URL or anything like that, you could sort any of the columns there. You can also filter on any of these columns as well. So if I want to filter on the URL here, I can filter on column and pick a search term there. I think I saw some how to Google searches on the previous one, so I'll just do how and +2 which is how the URL displays it, and we'll hit that search, and now we've got 6 hits for how to whatever. And if we look at the URL, how to start a new project, how to make marijuana, these would have come up on Google searches as well, but we're just looking at the Chrome web history here. So one thing that's pretty neat, if I clear the filters, and we've got the Chrome web history, is you can actually compare similar artifacts, but not the same ones. So for example, maybe the user was using multiple browsers, different types of browsers across their computer, their phone, or anything like that. And this goes with any artifact, but we use browsers as an example. And we can see we've got some Chrome data here. It looks like some mix of other ones, Internet Explorer. And maybe I want to view all of their browsing activity across all the browsers. Well, I can use hold down the control button, and I've got Chrome web history selected. If I hold down control and select the web visits, and maybe I want the Chrome Opera 360 save carved history, or include the daily, weekly, and main history from Internet Explorer, now I'm viewing multiple artifacts in a single view. And you can see there's some Chrome history, and if I scroll a little bit further, there's some Internet Explorer ones. And what I'll do is I'll sort that by date and time. And now I've got the browsing activity of the user across all the browsers, all their devices, and I can view that in a single view. Now you can see the view is changed slightly. You've got item, type, category, and date time. You don't have all of the columns, because having all the columns, every artifact's got slightly different columns, you wouldn't be able to compare them all. They'd have different values. So in the multi-artifact view, what we're able to do is group them in a different way. Obviously, a timestamp is really important, and that's something you can group by. So if they've got a timestamp, we'll group them by timestamp, but we'll also group by item. So browsing activity is easy. Anything that's the commonality between different browsers, different browsing artifacts is going to be the URL. So we've got a whole bunch of URLs here, and we've got a timestamp to it. So I sorted by timestamp. From here, I could right click, export out to a report, present this to my stakeholders and say, here's the user's browsing history across all their browsers, right? And you could do this, I just picked a few specific artifacts, but I could do the entire web related category here as well. And now I get a bigger picture. You're going to get a few other things that might not be reflective of the user's activity, but still very useful to do a timeline of that activity. So again, that's everything I wanted to show about the artifacts. Stay tuned for a few other videos around other features in AXIOM Examine. Thanks for watching.